Hey everyone, welcome back to Mind Warp Movies. In this video, we'll be recapping a vintage psychological horror film from 1986 titled Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Without further ado, let's get into the storyline. The film opens with a haunting shot of a naked, bloody woman's corpse lying in a field. The scene then cuts to a local diner, where we meet Henry, casually finishing his meal like any regular customer. He pays his bill, buys a pack of cool cigarettes, and then casually compliments the waitress.
Real nice smile you got there.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Henry then walks to his beat-up, dark green 1970 Chevy Impala and drives off into the Chicago streets. As Henry drives through the streets, we get quick, disturbing glimpses of violent crime scenes. There's a middle-aged couple lying murdered in a liquor store, a dead woman slumped in a motel bathroom, and another nude female corpse left in a creek. It is then implied that a serial killer is on the loose, and he's constantly on the move. We follow Henry as he aimlessly cruises the city, scanning the sidewalks with a cold gaze. He watches a group of women in a suburban shopping center and follows one of them home. But when he sees a man approach her, he quietly drives off. Soon after, he picks up a female hitchhiker carrying a guitar.
Hey, are you going to the city?
Sure, hop in.
Meanwhile, we're introduced to Otis, a former convict who reunites with his younger sister Becky at Midway Airport. Becky has fled Texas in an abusive marriage, her bruised face telling a silent story. Otis offers her a place to stay at his rundown second-floor apartment, although it's clear she doesn't know how long she'll be around. Once they arrive at Otis's dingy Chicago flat, Henry walks in carrying the hitchhiker's guitar. He hands it to Otis as a gift, a silent but horrifying suggestion of what happened to its previous owner. Otis introduces Henry to Becky, saying he's been staying with him for a few weeks and is supposedly heading west. The next day, Henry is seen working as an exterminator. After his boss pays him and says there's no more work for now, Henry heads back to the house of the woman he followed from the mall. Posing as an exterminator with his spray can in hand, he gains access to her home. Moments later, we see that she's been murdered in her living room, having been strangled with an electrical cord. Meanwhile, we see Otis at his job as a gas station attendant, where a teenage boy approaches him, asking for more of the stuff from last week. Otis agrees to meet later, and it is revealed that he's a part-time drug dealer. That evening, as Becky cooks dinner, she asks Otis about how he met Henry. Otis reveals they were cellmates in prison, where Henry was serving time for killing his mother and one of her boyfriends with a baseball bat. After dinner, Becky and Henry bond over cleaning the dishes. As they play cards, Becky opens up about her abusive father and asks Henry if he killed his mother. He admits to it, but tells Becky that he didn't use a bat and that he stabbed her instead. He explains that his mother was a prostitute who forced him to watch her with clients, punishing him when he refused. Becky also notices that Henry's story keeps shifting. One moment, he says he stabbed his mother, and the next, he says he shot her. The following night, Becky prepares dinner again and announces she's landed a job as a shampoo girl to help with expenses. Otis brings up her past as a stripper and jokes about her dancing for them. When Becky brings him a beer as requested, Otis grabs her arm as if to kiss her. Henry stops him by immediately grabbing Otis and forcing him to apologize to Becky. To ease the tension, Becky suggests the two men go out for a drink.
Listen, why don't you boys go out and get a beer?
Well, what do you say, Otis? You want to go grab a beer?
Sure, I don't mind.
While driving through Milwaukee Avenue that night, Henry and Otis pick up two women, leading them to an alley for what appears to be a consensual encounter. In the back seat, Henry suddenly and brutally kills his companion. The other woman in the front seat with Otis screams after seeing this and tries to escape, but Otis restrains her while Henry reaches forward and snaps her neck. They then dump the bodies in the alley like garbage. Otis is visibly shaken by the experience, but Henry calmly pacifies him by getting him something to eat and treating the aftermath of double murder like any other evening activity. Back at the apartment, Henry philosophizes about killing, and Otis seems to buy into Henry's worldview that it's either you or them. Later, Otis and Henry visit a garage where a portly man sells various appliances and electronics. They browse different TVs and even discuss a $500 video camera before Otis settles on a cheap $50 black and white television. The seller becomes angry that they've wasted his time. When the man mocks them for choosing a cheap $50 television, Henry responds by stabbing him in the hand and then the stomach. Henry then finishes him off by smashing the TV over his head.
Give me the $50 and get out! I'll give you...
The two men then steal the TV and a video camera before leaving the crime scene. Later that night, we see the three, Henry, Otis, and Becky, watching the stolen television while playfully toying with the new camera. A few days later, Otis meets with his parole officer to discuss his employment status. He then meets the same teenage boy for a drug deal later that day. When Otis inappropriately touches the boy's leg, he receives a punch to the face from the homophobic teen, who storms off in disgust. Humiliated and angry, Otis returns to Henry, saying he needs to kill someone. They go for a drive. While driving that night, Henry stops the car and gives Otis a gun. Pretending their car broke down, the two men starts waving at passing motorists for help. When a good Samaritan stops to help, Otis coldly shoots him in the head.
Guys need any help?
Back at the apartment, Henry starts giving Otis more tips, like never killing the same way twice and always staying on the move. That evening, they break into a suburban home. While Henry films, Otis assaults a woman as her husband lies bound on the floor. When the couple's teenage son unexpectedly returns, Henry kills the boy and the father, while Otis breaks the woman's neck. Afterwards, Otis fondles the corpse until Henry tells him to stop. Later, they re-watch the footage, with Otis rewinding it to watch again, indicating that the depravity has consumed him fully. Meanwhile, Becky is trying to rebuild a sense of normalcy. At the beauty salon, she calls her mother to check in. On the streets, Henry and Otis continue filming, but the camera breaks when Otis leans out of the car. Frustrated, Otis tosses it, leading to an argument. Henry scolds him for being careless and forces him out of the car. Back at the apartment, Becky announces that she's quitting her job to return to Texas, and she wants Henry to come with her. Henry suggests they go out for a steak dinner to discuss it further, wanting to use a stolen credit card from one of his recent victims. After having dinner, they return to the apartment to find Otis passed out drunk. Becky and Henry go to her room, and she makes a move on him. But before anything can happen, Otis interrupts and makes a crude remark.
I ain't interrupting nothing, am I? You guys want a beer?
Henry storms out, stopping at a convenience store for his signature cool cigarettes. Agitated, we see him struggle with the urge to kill the store clerk before backing away. Outside in an alley, he encounters a middle-aged woman walking her dog and stops to talk to her. After the woman leaves, he follows her briefly before again resisting the impulse to kill. When he returns, he finds Otis trying to force himself on Becky while choking her with a shirt. Enraged, Henry explodes and savagely beats Otis. However, during the fight, Otis smashes a liquor bottle over Henry's head, momentarily stunning him. Just as Otis is about to finish Henry off, Becky stabs him in the eye with a steel comb. Henry then finishes the job by stabbing Otis in the gut with his hunting knife. After the killing, Becky screams for Henry to call the police, but Henry tells her to shut up and let him think. After considering their options, Henry decides they need to clean up and leave since their names aren't on the apartment lease. While Becky cleans the blood, Henry dismembers Otis's body in the bathtub, placing the remains in black plastic trash bags before stuffing them into a suitcase. They pack their belongings, including the guitar that started it all, and leave the apartment. After leaving the apartment, they drive to a bridge and dump the suitcase containing Otis's remains into the Chicago River. While driving out of Chicago, Henry tells Becky they're going to hide out at his sister's ranch out west. He also tells her they'll send for Becky's daughter once they're settled. Becky tells him she loves him. Henry, emotionless as ever, replies,
I guess I love you too.
They stop at a rural motel for the night, checking in like any normal couple. Becky plays the guitar while Henry looks at himself in the bathroom mirror, planning the next step. He tells Becky that they need to sleep because they have a long drive ahead of them tomorrow. The next morning, Henry showers, shaves, packs his belongings, and leaves the motel alone. A short distance down the rural road, he stops his car, opens the trunk, and removes Becky's blood-stained suitcase. He drives away, leaving the suitcase behind on the roadside. It is then implied that Henry killed Becky the night before, and that her dismembered body is what's inside the suitcase. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this recap and want more breakdowns, don't forget to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.